Welcome aboard the USS Constellation. I'm Captain Baltimore, and this here is the Captain Baltimore Show. So don't touch that remote. We'll be right back.
Well, what do you do with a lazy sailor? What do you do with a lazy sailor? What do you do with a lazy sailor? Early in the morning. Way hey and up she rises. Way hey and up she rises. Way hey and up she rises. Early in the morning. Put him in the bilge and you make him drink it. Put him in the bilge and you make him drink it. Put him in the bilge and you make him drink it. Early in the morning. And way hey and up she rises. Way hey and up she rises. Way hey and up she rises. Early in the morning.
Well, put him in the longboat till he wakes up. Put him in the longboat till he wakes up. Put him in the longboat till he wakes up early in the morning.
Way hey and up she rises. Way hey and up she rises. Way hey and up she rises. Early in the morning. Shave his belly with a rusty razor. Shave his belly with a rusty razor. Shave his belly with a rusty razor. Early in the morning. And way hey and up she rises. Way hey and up she rises. Way hey and up she rises. Early in the morning.
Hello, boys and girls. I'm Captain Baltimore, and this here is the Captain Baltimore Show. Welcome to our show. I've got two friends with me today. This is Elizabeth the Lantern,
Yes.
and this is Gary the Meek and Easily Frightened. And so, Elizabeth, why don't you tell the boys and girls something about yourself?
Well, I be Elizabeth the Lantern, and I be the galley wench on the great ship the Flying Anchor. Along with Gary the Meek and Easily Frightened, we be Hangman'S Faire, because in the olden days, if there was a hanging of a pirate, because pirates are bad guys, they would have this big fair, and everybody would come and play music, and eat yummy foods, and drink delicious drinks.
Aye, they did that.
They did indeed. So we play music wherever we go. We visit ports all around Maryland. And so you can find us in Baltimore or Annapolis or Solomon's Island. We be Hangman'S Faire, we be. Well, Captain Baltimore, tell us a little bit about the U.S. Constellation.
Yes, Elizabeth, I'm very honored to be the captain of the Constellation. Now, have a look at this.
USS Constellation. There's a grand lady in Baltimore who has taken her rightful place as the Inner Harbor's crown jewel in the heart of the Chesapeake Bay. Launched in 1854 as the last all-sail ship designed and built for the United States Navy, Constellation's century of service embraced the ages of sail, steam, gas, diesel, and nuclear power. Imagine that, launched in 1854 and still afloat. Even more exciting, visitors can come aboard Constellation and explore to their heart's content. On board Constellation, history comes alive as visitors touch, feel, and experience what life was like for sailors during the Civil War. Just bring your imagination. Constellation is the second of 3 U.S. Navy vessels to carry the same venerable name. The first, the frigate Constellation, was built right here in Baltimore at Harris Creek and launched in 1797. Known as the Yankee Racehorse, the frigate Constellation was one of the first 6 ships built by the United States Navy. The ship you see here, the sloop of war Constellation, was built at the Gosport Navy Yard in Portsmouth, Virginia, and launched in 1854. A newspaper account from the day of her launch reported that there were 8 pieces of the original frigate Constellation contained within her timbers. The third Constellation was the aircraft carrier CV-64. Launched in 1960, she served until 2003. President Ronald Reagan called her America's flagship. But it's the sloop of war Constellation that's here in Baltimore today and the Chesapeake Bay has always been central to her story.
Well, how did you like that, Gary?
That was quite an interesting bit of information about that big boat. Ship!
Thank you
We
very
don't
much.
call them boats, they're ships.
A ship. A ship is a vessel of 3 or more masts that is square rigged. That is a ship.
Yes.
Oh, no, I thought it would be one of those things where you couldn't, if you couldn't take it out, bring it into dry dock, it was no longer a ship. You know, if you could trailer a ship, then it's a boat. But you can't necessarily trailer a ship.
No, you can't trailer a ship. And it's great to have you two with us today. That was a wonderful song you did for us.
Thank you kindly, we thank you
There.
kindly.
Can you tell us a little bit about that song?
Indeed, the Lazy Sailor is actually a sea shanty. Do you know what a sea shanty is?
Tell us.
Well, it's a work song on those big grand ships like the U.S. Constellation with all those many masts and all those sails. You would have a lot of men, lots of sailors that would have to hoist those sails into the sky up on the riggings. And in order to do that, they had to work as a team.
What about hauling the anchor?
The same thing.
Same deal.
Yep, the same thing. If you had to hoist a sail or hoist the yard arms or drag in the anchor, you had to have a work song, which they call a shanty. It's from the word chant. And the men would all sing together in order to hoist those sails or pull those anchors. So if you notice, there was quite a rhythm to that song.
Mm-hmm.
And that is called the Lazy Sailor.
And I'll bet that makes the work go faster.
Yes,
doesn't
indeed it
Yep,
does. It
yep.
does indeed.
And makes for a more pleasant work day.
Indeed.
Yep.
There is no such thing on the ship as a pleasant work day. It's work.
Work, huh? But you know what they say?
What do they say?
They say that a bad day on the water is better than a good day at the office.
This is true, this is true.
Yeah.
Us being professional pirates and all that,
Yeah.
we would know the difference.
Well, Elizabeth Lantern,
Indeed, Captain.
I understand you like to work with children. Pirate
and-
children?
Well, not just pirate children, we work with all children. Boys, girls, big ones, little ones. We work around campfires with children. Sometimes we go to marine museums and work with children. Sometimes railroad museums even.
Aye.
Along the river.
We are indeed pirates for hire.
Yes, indeed, we are pirates for hire. We be Hangman'S Faire. And you can call us. If they're interested, they can call us at 443-481-7022 if you know your numbers and you know how to write them down.
And what kind of a number would that be?
Well, it's the Hangman'S Faire number.
And
It's a mobile number because we never know if we're out to sea or if we're on a dinghy or if we're on a raft or, you know, up in the mizzen mast or down in the galley. We never know where we are, so we take our phone with us wherever we go.
a phone?
Oh, yes, a telephone.
What's that?
Well,
It's a communicating device. You used to get up with the flags and wave them from side to side. Well, they have these new electronic devices where you just push buttons.
it's sort of a little teeny tiny flag you hold in your hand.
But, what'd be wrong with the flags?
Nothing.
Nothing, but you can't hear them from far away, and we like to be able to reach children everywhere.
Oh, I see.
He's a little
Okay.
slow, but he's getting it now.
Yeah, well, that's interesting about all these newfangled contraptions. But, you know, the ship Constellation is an old vessel.
Oh, yes, she's yar, she
Is yar. She's a fine, sturdy, seaworthy craft. Yeah. She still has her cannon on board. And in fact, why don't we take a look?
Attention below in the captain's cabin. If you're in the captain's cabin, get out. And to make sure we don't have any water taxis coming. That's looking pretty good at the moment. On the 20-pound parrot rifle, prepare to fire. Make ready. Fire!
Whoa, that was loud.
Oh, that was loud. I wish those pirates would learn how to shoot that cannon that it wouldn't make so much dang noise.
Arg, so does everybody they're aimed at.
I know, but you know, those cannons, they were important to pirates. You know, if you saw a big ship coming across the water with 30 and 40 cannon on it, you knew you knew that you were in trouble, especially with the flag on
Yes.
the top. You know those flags, what they meant, don't you?
Well, that depends on the flag, don't it?
Well, do you know what the first pirate flag's color was? I bet you don't.
Black?
No, you're
Nope.
wrong.
Nope.
It was red.
Blood
And
red.
If you saw a blood red flag on a pirate, on any ship, you knew that was pirates because they were going to be unmerciful to you and steal everything that you had and push you off the ship and take whatever there was left. But later on, they adopted the black flag. You know how they adopted it?
No, tell me.
Well, they adopted it from the ships that would have smallpox on board.
Aye.
And when they came into the harbor, they would fly a black flag with a skull and crossbones on it so that people knew that you didn't want to go near that ship because there was smallpox. And smallpox was a very deadly disease. People got very sick from it. So those pirates, being the liars that they are, stole that flag and used it as their own.
Aye.
Yes, they did. And there were many different types of pirate flags. Indeed there was. Black.
Each pirate probably had his own,
They
as I
had
remember.
many. Yes, indeed they did. Blackbeard, the famous pirate, had a red flag though, and he had many scary things on his flag. Skeleton, and it had a crown on the skeleton because he said he was the king of the pirates.
King of the pirates, indeed.
Aye, he was.
Yes.
He was.
Well, why did they call him Blackbeard?
Because his beard was
Oh
black.
my, he was very tall, 6'4". He had these long black hair and long black beard, and he used to twist firecrackers into it. And then he would light them on fire, and then whenever he boarded a ship, people thought he was the devil himself
Oh, my
because he was
goodness.
all on flame and smoking. He was a very handsome man for a pirate, actually.
And what was his real name?
Do you know? Since you know so much, do you know? What kind of pirate are you?
I know his name.
What was his name?
John the Teacher.
That's wrong.
Wrong.
His name was Edward Teach.
I was close.
Well,
You were just
almost.
making it
Do
up.
you know?
I was making it up.
Do you know how long he was a pirate? Let's see how much you know
He
now.
was 6'6" long.
Well, it's not that long. That's tall. He was a pirate only for 18
months.
18
Aye,
months.
aye.
Indeed.
But he got
And
around in those 18 months,
Indeed,
didn't he?
he
Aye,
did,
he was
yeah.
up and down the Chesapeake
Yeah.
Bay for many months.
He was a head above the rest of us.
Aye.
And where else was he?
At the end of a rope.
And indeed he was. Do you know
End of a rope.
he came near to Baltimore? He did. He did. They found his ship actually in Annapolis. He was coming up the coast of east of America, and he was burning and pillaging and stealing everything he could from every village along the shore. And Annapolis people heard that he was coming, and you know what they did? Do you know what they did?
They rolled out the welcome mat.
They did not.
He did?
They sent word out to him that he could come take anything he wanted. And guess what he did?
They came and got them all.
No, he did not.
What'd he do?
He knew he had the respect of Annapolis and its people, and he just stayed on his ship, the Queen Anne's Revenge.
He did?
And they beached it at Greenberry Point across the water from the Naval Academy. And for 3 days, cleaned the bottom of the ship, and then they got in their ship and they just went on down the ocean,
But
out the bay to the ocean.
coming all the way to Annapolis, didn't he, want to eat some crabs?
He may have, but he didn't. Or maybe they did when they were at Greenberry Point. I don't know.
Or oysters.
Oh, I don't know.
Back then there were lots of
Oh,
oysters
yes,
in the
yes,
bay.
yeah, you could eat anything.
Aye.
Oh yeah, it was a great. That's what the bay is, you know. a
Aye,
great
they said you
bounty.
could walk across the Chesapeake Bay on oysters the whole way.
Indeed.
Indeed.
Have you ever done that?
Aye, I did that.
See, he's lying again.
You think he's
Ponce
lying?
the liar.
Think he's
he's
lying?
doing it. He's doing a
Could
very
be.
good job of
Could
being
be.
Ponce the liar today.
Could be.
I
Could
don't
be.
know. I don't think you should trust him, Captain Baltimore.
Maybe not. All right, Elizabeth and Gary, I think it's about time for a break. What do you think?
If you say so,
Aye.
you're the captain.
Let's take a break. We'll be back soon.
I'm a deep water sailor, just come from Hong Kong. To me way, I blow the man down. If you give me some silver, I'll sing you a song. Oh, give me some time to blow the man down. Behind the 8 ball, I first took my time. To me way, I has wasted his prime. Oh, give him some time to blow the man.
Wise guy, huh?
Tinkers and tailors and soldiers and all. Me way, way, blow the man down. That's one good sailor behind the 8 ball. Oh, give him some time to blow the man down.
15 hairs on a dead man's chest.
Many brave hearts lie asleep in the haze of night. Be
Hey kids, guess what? Gary has agreed to play our friend Ponce to Liar today.
I did that.
So let's have a look at this. Ponce, get over here.
Yes, Captain.
Did you swab the poop deck?
Absolutely, sir.
Did you climb the ratlins?
Rattlins all the way to the top, sir.
To the crow's nest?
To the crow's nest, and I chased out the crow to boot.
And what about the pin rail?
The pin rail?
The pin rail.
Pinned it.
It's in order.
Pinned it. It's in order.
Okay. Did you weigh the anchor?
It weighed 2,500 pounds, sir.
Oh.
Grub, sir.
Doesn't look...
There was nothing on it when I was done except the stain from the soap and the scrubbing marks, sir.
I can't see my face in it.
Aye, sir, you just didn't look hard enough.
Look at that poop deck. Have you been telling tales, Ponce?
Just making a short story, sir. Little story. Little story.
A short story.
Little short story, sir.
Ponce, what have I told you about telling stories?
Not to make stuff up, sir. To only tell things as they are. As they be, as it were.
As they be.
Aye, sir.
What kind of an example are you setting for these young people? Ponce, did you swab the poop deck?
In truth, sir, no.
Then why did you tell me you had?
Just a little story, sir.
A little story. You call it a little story?
Yes, just a little story. You make stuff up, Captain.
I call it a falsehood, Ponce. Ponce,
Aye.
do you know what happened to Pinocchio?
No.
Every time he told a lie, his nose grew, and it grew out to here.
It grew.
I think I see it starting.
Okay, Captain, I'll never tell another falsehood again. Not make any more stories.
And I can rely on that.
As my word is, me bond, sir. Aye, Captain.
So what do you think of that, kids?
Oh, I think it's a wonderful thing.
Kids, I hope you all at home know not to tell lies. And when you don't know something and you just make it up, that's just about the same as lying. And it's great to have you two with us today. And we also have my friend and mascot here, Blackjack. Blackjack. Come here. Yeah, Blackjack. Hey, you're such a nice pirate, doggy.
He's
Yes,
an old
hard.
sea dog.
Yeah,
he
you are
is.
an old
Yes. They used to call me an old sea
She's
dog.
a salty dog.
Yeah, salty
if
dog.
ever I saw one. Yippers. All right,
Oh, there's
all
the
right.
ship's bells.
How many bells would that be?
I don't know, 8.
8.
8
You?
bells.
Whose watch is it 8 bells?
1, 2.
2 bells.
That'd be 2 bells. Not be my watch, must be his.
I think it's his watch.
Are you talking about the lazy sailor here if you ever talked about one?
Indeed.
I don't take a watch.
No, he doesn't.
Ooh. Lazy sailor, huh?
Aye.
Yeah, we have a sea shanty that goes with that, by the way.
Oh, you do?
We do indeed.
Aye.
Would you like to hear it?
I would indeed.
Oh, wonderful. We'll do it for you. Would you like to hear it too?
You want to hear that, kids? All right. Oh.
What do you do with a lazy sailor? What do you do with a lazy sailor? What do you do with a lazy sailor? Early in the morning, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises early in the morning.
Blackjack? a good old salty dog, isn't she?
Indeed, she
Aye.
is. She's a fine dog, she is.
Aye, how do you take her for a walk on board a ship?
Well, you pretty much start on the poop deck.
Aye!
We're
not supposed to discuss those kind of things.
Oh, yeah, Blackjack, she liked the poop deck. Yeah. Yep. And then sometimes I'll take her and I'll go up the foredeck and then I'll go back and I'll go back up the poop deck again.
Aye, exactly where is this poop deck you talk about?
It's in the aft.
What's the aft?
The aft is like aft of the main part of the ship.
Ooh, do you mean behind?
Behind, yeah, that's right. That's right. And that's where the wheel will be. And so I'll take her from the poop deck and I'll walk her down the starboard side and up to the foredeck, the forecastle, and then I'll take her down from there and I'll walk her back the port side and back up the poop deck again.
Aye. And exactly why do they call the right side of the boat starboard and the left side port?
Well, you see, back in the day, before the steering wheel was invented, they steered the boat with what was called a steering oar.
Aye.
Steering board, and that became known as the starboard. Okay, and that was on the right side of the boat, so that became known as the starboard side of the boat. And then, when they were bringing the boat into dock, they couldn't dock it on that side because they damaged the steering board. So they docked it on the other side, the left side. And since that side was always up against the dock, they called it the port side.
Aye.
Now, my pirate granddaddy told me that in the olden days, you could only dock a ship on its left side.
That was because you had the steering board on the right side. That'd be true. Yeah.
Aye. And they accuse me of making things up.
No, we're not making that up. We're not making that up.
Don't you know good knowledge when you hear it, man?
I guess I do.
He's the captain, he should know.
Aye.
And why do they call the front part of the boat the bow?
I know.
Tell us.
Because the ship bows into the water
Oh, yeah.
as it goes over the waves.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And why do they call the aft part the prow? Or the stern?
I don't know.
Don't know?
Why do they call
Well,
the aft part the...
If you don't know, who do?
Well, it's certainly not me, but I can make something up.
He would too. You know that he would.
You know
because
it's
he's
called the
constant lawyer
stern
is what he
because
is.
that's where the captain stands, and the captain is always stern.
Okay.
Oh.
That could be.
We have a ship over here. See over there? Full of blue paint.
Aye.
And then we have a ship over here full of red paint.
Blue paint, red paint.
They're coming towards each other over the water like this. And they crash into one another. And what do you think it is?
The United States Congress.
What happens when the two ships come together? Crash together. Boom!
Blue and red.
Purple.
They're maroon.
Maroon!
Aye.
Pirate
Maroon.
joke it is. You can't
I
do
like
better.
the United States Congress better.
Okay, so do you have another joke? Do you?
I can't think of any more jokes, but I know a poem.
You do?
Okay.
Yeah. This poem was written by Sir John Masefield. He were the poet laureate of England when I were a lad. The poem is called Sea Fever.
Oh, my favorite. It's my
Aye.
favorite. Please go on.
I must go down to the seas again, to the lonely seas and the sky. And all I ask is a tall ship and a star to steer her by, and the wheels kick and the wind song and the white sail shaking, and the grey mist on the sea's face, and the grey dawn breaking. I must go down to the seas again, for the call of the running tide is a wild call and a clear call that cannot be denied. And all I ask is a windy day, with the white clouds flying, and the blown spume, and the flung spry, and the seagulls crying. I must go down to the sea again, to the vagrant gypsy life, to the gulls why, and the whales why, where the wind's like a whetted knife. And all I ask is a merry yarn from a laughing fellow rover, and a quiet sleep, and a sweet dream when the long trick be over.
That was lovely. Me mom used to say that poem to us when I was a wee lass. It brought back so many fond memories. Oh my. You're so
Aye.
good at that.
Why, thank you, Elizabeth.
We should put that to a melody someday.
Well, this is all very interesting, but I think it's time for us to take a break. What do you say, boys and girls? You ready for a break?
I'm ready for a break.
Aren't you?
I'm ready.
Now, my father was a keeper of the Eddystone Light, and he met with the mermaid one fine night. From this union there came three, a porpoise and a porgy, and the other was me. Oh, and the wind blew free, off for the life on the rolling sea. One night while I was trimming the limb and singing a verse of the evening hymn, from out of the mist there came
Ahoy!
there was my mother sitting on a buoy. Oh, and the wind blew free, off for the life on the rolling sea.
Welcome back, me arties. And that just about wraps it up for today. Elizabeth, is there anything you'd like to say to the folks before we go?
We would like to wish them from Hangman'S Faire a fair wind in a following sea.
And don't spit to the windward.
No. Goodbye for now. Till next time. This is Captain Baltimore aboard the USS Constellation.